Hey, good afternoon, Dave. What is going on? And I see you got that bright smile on your face like you just went to the dentist. So what's going on, man?
Hey Joe, how you doing there, bro? It's another great weekend to be podcasting.
Oh, absolutely, man. I look forward to this every Sunday morning, and which is the time that we actually record our podcast. So, yeah, we're really excited about how things have been going so far. We've been moving along, pushing forward. So that's a great thing. We've already had a few episodes drop. So I'm really excited. Been a good week for me. So what about you? How's your week been?
It's been great, Joe. Had a couple of great meetings this week and met a couple of clients. You know, what could be better than meeting people and doing what we like to do?
Absolutely. So with that being said, we want to welcome you all to the Journeys of Not So Ordinary People podcast. And what Dave just mentioned is kind of what we're going to talk about today. So this is going to be informed in the or posed as a question.
Mm.
And the question is, what are you passionate about? And so we both are excited about this topic because there's a lot, we all have passion about a lot of different things, and we don't want to go down the mushy side of this, passionate about family and things like that. But what drives you, almost kind of referring back to the one of the topics we already talked about, which was motivation. And for me and probably for Dave too, our motivation is helping other people. And we
Yeah,
talk about
it's you,
this
it's you, it's
often.
our viewers and our listeners.
Right. Yeah. Everybody watching or listening to this podcast, it's helping you to not have to take that long and scenic route. So that's what I'm passionate about. And again, I know Dave is too, because we do this so that we can help other people. Even if it means not getting paid, right? Like right now, we're on this podcast, we're not getting paid for this, but we're passionate about helping other people achieve their goals.
Mm.
And, being the oldest child, oldest grandchild, I always had the responsibility of helping others and taking care of others. But so that may be where this all started for me. But it is my passion, helping other people. And so I'll go back to, again, my intentional journey, which I continue to talk about, which was 2005. And it just came more and more clear to me that my passion was helping people, because as I was starting down my journey, I was not just thinking about myself. I started to include all my peers, friends, family, and any bit of information I, received or acquired to help me develop, I passed that on to other people. Because again, I learned my passion is helping other people. So this journey for me was not just about me. It was about my family, my close friends, and some strangers that I, met here and there, that I'd start talking about, development and growth and things like that. So that's my passion, is helping other people. And like I say, this podcast is an example of that. Everything we've done in the past is an example of that. And so I'm passionate about helping other people achieve their goals. Because I think back to when, I started down my journey, there were people in my life that, assisted me, and I took off and ran with it. But I just think of, what if somebody would have been passionate about helping me? How far might I have gone, and minimize my long journey? So I just, that's what always stays in the back of my mind, and always passing it on to someone else and paying it forward. So for me, that's why we're doing what we're doing today. That's why I will continue to do this in some form or fashion, even if it's not a podcast in the near future. It'll be some way I'm going to continue to give back to other people and to help them with their journey. So I know I've rambled quite a bit in this intro, Dave, but I'll pass it over to you. So what are you passionate about?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. What a great introduction. Really appreciate it. Nice way to tie our podcast together. Um, I'm right there with you. I'm passionate about helping people because, again, part of our background is having to, I'm going to say, experience or trudge down that long scenic path, not always having that mentor or coach or that other person willing or wanting to take that extra time to develop other people, myself included, and ourselves included. So thereby, taking the long scenic route. And again, to some of our points that we've made in previous podcasts, there are benefits to taking the long scenic route. There's a qualitative aspect about experiencing these things for yourself and the lessons learned that are associated with experiencing those things for yourself. But there's also the benefit of not having to take that long scenic route. It's not as painful. It's not as challenging, which is not a bad thing because it can help expedite progress. I think back to when early in my military career, I wasn't when I first started, I was just a young kid, and learning what it was like to be an adult and learning what it was like to be in the military. And I just kind of existed. I kind of just went along for the ride day by day, going with the flow, not really doing anything except for my job. And
Right.
there were some hard lessons learned in there. There were some bumps in the road and hiccups, and I had to learn things the hard way sometimes. And it was towards the end of my first assignment that one of my supervisors actually took some time to and invested some time with me to kind of help me redirect my focus to be on more of a more positive directory instead of just a existing trajectory. And from that point on, I really realized the value of helping other people and
Right.
the enjoyment and gratification that I can get from helping others, because going through a painful learning experience or a challenging learning experience that leaves a few scars on you isn't always fun or enjoyable.
Right.
Um, and if we can help others not have to do that and maybe just really get into a good groove, if you will, and just get there and get them on the path that they want to, then that's a good thing, right? I mean, it's like you said,
Right.
it's paying it forward.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to my second base, I really took that it took that to heart. And the people I was supervising, I shared those lessons with, and I really spent and invested that extra time with them to help them understand not only just the right way, they all knew that, but what's a better way to do the right thing and what's a better way to do that. So that constant self-improvement type of thing. So that's where my passion resides, and then I'm sure with Joe, the same thing. It's really about, it's not that we don't want people to experience challenging things, because there are really great benefits from that. But
Oh,
if
absolutely.
you don't have to
Yep.
break your arm, maybe just get a
Right.
bruise on it. That's
Right.
okay. Why have to break it if you don't have to?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So you touched on something, and I said I started with my intentional journey, but like you, it really started well beyond that or before that. But to me, that's, I think, when I realized the impact I was having and the intentional reason for me doing those things. But you're right. If we can, there's a lot to be said about, experiencing your own journeys. Like you just said, do we have to, even with our kids, we try and help them so that they don't burn themselves or stick a fork in the outlet, those types of things. And
Don't we?
sometimes, right, sometimes they don't get it until they do it themselves. But at the same time, you also mentioned, if we can help you maybe steer clear of that obstacle or go around something like that, in your career or in your life, then that's what we want to do. And that's why for me, whenever I've interviewed and people will say, "What's your greatest accomplishment?" or whatever it is, and I always relate to that. Not the fact that I've earned a doctorate or reached these levels, high levels in corporate America or anything like that. It's more about helping other people to succeed, helping them, pulling them along the way, because being at the top by yourself is a lonely place. Even though I've never totally been there, but I could only imagine if I didn't have these people, like you said, talk to them about things and help them see them struggle and help them overcome some of, the problems or issues they're currently facing because we've experienced it. And that's all we're trying to do is to help them, like I say, maybe soften the blow or maybe not have to go around and round about things and get there sooner. And then maybe that'll, have them want to help somebody else. So
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. It is paying it forward, is continuing to do. And this is one of those things, that I'm going to continue to do, even though I don't get paid for it. And somebody told me that, what would you do even if you weren't getting paid? And that's what I've done most of my life is help other people. And I don't get paid in, on monetary, like dollar amount or, gifts and things like that, but I get paid in feeling that I've done something good for somebody else. And so for me, that goes a long way, which I would imagine is probably the same for you too, Dave.
Yeah. And Joe, you mentioned something a couple of seconds ago. You said that helping other people, but to the point where they can help others. And that's really what it's about is,
Yep.
not holding on to this information or this knowledge and just
Right.
saying, this is
Right.
mine, you can't have it.
Yep.
It's how many people can I positively impact by sharing this? And
Right.
then one of the things, and I know you've done this before from some of our other offline conversations, is, we when we help people, we say we ask them or advise them, or I don't want to say tell them, but we try to influence them to take the knowledge that we've shared with them and share it with other people from what
Yep.
they've learned from it. So it does perpetuate this passion of helping others and being kind, even though some people might say, well, that person is a this or that and they don't deserve that, or they just don't get it. To
Right.
me, it's like that's telling me someone has not taken enough time or effort to invest in those individuals. Now, some people you really can't help. It's the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't
Right.
make it drink.
Yep. Yep.
There's some people that just don't want to be helped, but those that do will get it. And, part of our passion is not only just sharing that information, but helping others to understand that once we've shared this information, for them not to hold on to it and covet it, but
Right.
to share it with other people, to propagate that knowledge and learning experiences. So we're not all scratching our heads going, I wish I had something that was this shape that could make things go from point A to point B without dragging it. It just kind of would
Right.
roll like a wheel. Yeah. Well, we don't
Right.
want to reinvent the wheel. We want to tell people about, hey, here's what a wheel is and what it does. And by the way, here's how you get one or make one, so they don't have to figure out the nuances to it. How can we help them build a better resume, interview
Right.
better, train better, learn better, share better, experience better? How can they be a better leader or manager or employee? How can they make better decisions for themselves or to help influence other people to make positive decisions? Or, when we go back to learning and education, what's the best avenue for them? How do they make those choices? And that's what we're
Right.
passionate about. We're not here to decide for people. We're here to help people. Yeah, we're here to help people, and to help people help themselves is really what it's about. Help them see the options and come up with the options to make those decisions.
Absolutely. And I think for me that was the most powerful thing. And like you say, not to lead them to the water or not to show them how it's done, but to open their mind
Yeah,
to the possibilities. And I think
yeah,
that's for me the most enjoyment because like I said, I think back to my time when I finally opened my eyes to the potential growth and development and now to be able to help other people open their own eyes, get them to that point where they can see it themselves, and like you say, not to tell them or show them exactly how to do it, because everybody's got to choose their own path. But if we can be involved in that process of that eye-opening process, for me that's where I get the most pleasure, is helping people realize it themselves. Because
that
like
empowerment piece.
exactly that piece where you say, you take control of your life, that you make those decisions. And we've talked about this before. everybody has a choice to make in which path they take. If they want to take the info or the information that you provided them and use it, that's still on them. Like you
Mhm.
said, you can provide, and I've done this in the past for people. I've laid it out exactly. This is the path I've taken. These are some of the things I did, and people have walked away from that.
Mhm.
But I've done my part, I believe,
Yeah.
by providing them with those options and helping them see it. But it's not until they open their own eyes to what's in front of you. Because in my case too, I had people in my life, you know, helping me or pointing me in certain directions, but it was still up to me to latch on and say, yeah, you're right. Hey, now I see it. So it's still, we can, like you said, lead people to water, but we can't make them drink. And but my passion still is going to be provide them with as much as I can to help them. And so their own light bulb has to come on,
Right.
but at least I provided them with options or different ways of viewing it, or different ways or different paths that they can choose. So again, that still remains my passion, that I'm going to give you as much as I can. It's still up to you to whether you're going to accept it, use it, or discard it. So but I think that's very important. It's not that we, like I say, want to provide you this blueprint of how things could be for you. It's still going to come down to you opening your own eyes to,
Yeah.
that potential where you want to go.
Yeah. And that ties back into, our individual journeys. They may be very,
Yep.
very similar. Joe's and journey and my journey are very, very similar. Uncanny how similar they are.
Right.
Weird how similar they are.
Right.
But when you start digging below the high level topics, you start seeing the nuances between our experiences and how we got to where we are today, and how those experiences affected us very similarly and very differently, how they impacted
Right.
us. And for as similar as our experiences have been, they're also just as different, and therefore our journeys are very different. Well, they're very similar, but they're also extremely different. And that's the uniqueness behind our individual passions, because even though our passion is the same, how we got there, how we got to
Right.
that passion
Yep.
and accepted and embraced that passion can be very different. I mean,
Right.
not to point out the obvious, but Joe and I are, I mean, we're not the same color, but we are the same color. But it's just that's not a bad thing. It's an is what it is. I mean, it's just it drives our experiences, and it's not to say one color is better than the other, or one experience is better than another, or good, bad, or indifferent. It's just it's an is what it is, and our experiences make us who we are, and our choices make us who we are, and therefore our passions make us who we are. And
Right.
how we find those passions through understanding motivation and critical self-reflection, and
Hmm.
the importance of education and the types of education, all these things start pulling together. um, Joe and I mentioned early on that a lot of these topics that we discuss are not linear. They're not, this is this one, this is this one, this one, this topic leads directly into this one. It's really more of a web, or a ball of yarn, if you will, that's
Right.
just jumbled together, and things that you wouldn't think are related are. So when we talk about passion, it's not just, oh, I'm passionate about X, Y, and Z. Well, that's fine, but why are you passionate about it? Understanding that
Right.
passion, where does it come from? How does it drive you? What do you do with that passion? And it's not just about maybe helping other people. Maybe it's about a hobby, or maybe it's about your
Right.
profession, or maybe it's about something you want to do that you haven't done. That's what we're talking about. Digging in and just embracing that passion and doing something positive with it.
Right. And the last comments you made about your passion leading to what you want to do. So I kind of liken that to like an artist or a
Mhm.
professional player, basketball player, football player. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. That's what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
They're going to give it 110%. And that's what hopefully we can ignite in other people is whatever their passion
Yeah.
is. Go after it, pursue it.
Yeah.
And like you say, all this is a web. Everything we've discussed, everything we'll continue to discuss, it's not just you'll do this thing and then move on to the next. No, they're all, intermixed. They're all part of the same part of, finding out who you are, where you want to go. That all still is relevant, especially like with your passion. Because like I said, I'm working in corporate America, working in academia, but the common thread is the passion to help other people. And so when you're in whatever area or part of your life you're in today, and you start thinking about what gives you the most joy, what would you do if you weren't getting paid for it? And that helps you align that passion. And for me, that's what it became. I continue to do this. I have calls with people, every other day, asking for assistance and help, and I do it willingly, and I'll continue to do that because, like I said, I know my passion is helping other people, and not necessarily just to give them the tools that I use, but to help them find their own tools, help them discover their own tools, and again, that light bulb moment, helping them turn their own light on, like it happened for me.
Yeah. And that brings up a question in my mind that I'm sure some of our viewers and listeners are wondering about. What if we don't know what our passion is? Then what? How do we find our passion, Dr. Joe? What advice do you have on how to find your passion?
And that goes back to, again, um, I've said it a couple of times. What are you happy about, or what makes you happy? Even if you could do this for the rest of your life, and not get paid for it, what is that thing for you? Like I say, if it's painting, it's running marathons, whatever that passion is, whatever that drives you, motivates you to get up every day, that's what you need to figure out.
Mhm.
I think back to, as a child, and my dream was to play in the NBA. I wanted to be like Dr. J. And I realized that wasn't going to happen for me. That was my passion back then. And it remained my passion for a lot of years afterwards, to play basketball. And so, I always joked I'd go play 7 or 8, you know, 5 or 6 days out of a 7-day week. And then I'd get up and go to work on Monday. And then I would also complain about those, NBA players complaining about a fingernail and things like that, just because I was like, I'm doing this every day. I'm not getting paid for it. I go to work still injured and things like that, but that was my passion. I love doing it. I would do it. If I had to walk 10 miles, probably I'd still do it. And so I know that was a childhood dream, but now that dream has changed into helping other people see their dream. So it's finding that thing that makes you happy, that you would do regardless. If people put barriers in front of you, you're still going to try and do it. That's that passion. That's the thing that you're most passionate about. That thing that you just can't turn off. That you wake, lay awake at night thinking, tomorrow, if I can get up and do this, it'll be a great day, regardless of everything else that's going on. If I can do this, then my day is going to be brighter. So it's that one thing. And it could be taking care of your family, or making sure they achieve their goals, whatever it is. It's that thing that you just can't turn off. You can't, you might have tried to block it, put it in the back of your mind, but it just continues to pop up. It continues to rear its head, that you need to be doing this, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your gut, that this is what I should be doing. So,
Yeah.
Again, I rambled a little bit, but so I want to hear your version of how you find your passion.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So for me, it's the advice that I can offer is, if you don't know, if you're struggling with finding that inner passion inside you, reach out to your personal network or your professional network or your supervisor or
Yeah.
your spouse or brother, sister, mom, dad, relative, or maybe it's a leader in your company or someone, a leader of another company or manager of another company that you know. So, and talk to them and just sit down and have those candid conversations about, hey, I'm struggling here. I'm trying to figure out what I'm passionate about so I can drive forward and really be where I want to be. There's lots of folks out there that are great mentors and coaches that are more than happy to help you do that. And you know, if you can't, if you're just struggling to find it with yourself, which was my case for many years, um, then reach out to someone, you know, and talk to them, and just have a conversation. It can be a casual conversation, it can be an intentional conversation, but just reach out. You know, it gets back to, you know, you're not alone. There are people out
Right.
there that do want to help you. Um, you know, there's more people out there than just Joe and I.
Right. Right.
As much as we like to
Absolutely.
think that there's not, but there is. And you know, reach out to those folks. You know, my one of my best advocates is my wife and my son and Joe, and there's a handful of other folks out there. You know, and you know, I reach out to them on a regular basis, and we have these discussions and think about these things and celebrate them, and you know, sometimes I pick them apart and say, okay, I'm passionate about this, but what can I do better about this to make it even better and more enjoyable? So,
Well,
and
you bring up a very, very good point. Like you said, if you're struggling, you don't know what your passion is, and a good source or resource are the people that are closest to you. And I think that's what helped identify it for me too, was because, you know, when you start talking about certain things, people see it in you. People see your
yeah,
eyes light up, and they see the passion that you know, put into it. And for us, we just think it's, you know, the normal discussion or conversation that we're having, but to them, they can see it.
they
They
can
can
see
see
it.
the light, you know, in your
Yeah.
eyes. They can see the passion you have. And so you're
Excitement.
absolutely
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, the excitement and just communicating with. And that's why, you know, I'm talking about it, I'm rambling, is because this is the
Yeah.
excitement for me, the passion to help other people. And I know exactly, because this is the way I get when we start talking about my passion for helping people. And that is a very good indicator, is to ask those people closest to you, who observe you, have known you.
Yeah.
And if you ask them, when you talk to Joe or Dave, what are they most excited about? Where do you see, you know, when do their eyes light up? What topics are they talking about? And I
Yeah.
guarantee you, almost every person will say, that for me, it's when I'm helping other people. It's when I'm talking about helping other people and them grow and develop. So you're absolutely correct. That is another resource for you to tap into to help you with that. You know, with what you're passionate about. So I just want to caveat that, and I know, like I said, I've been rambling on this topic because this one
That's what
just
we're here for, to
has hit
ramble,
home.
chat, discuss, talk, educate,
Right.
convey, you know, even if it's just planting that seed and helping others to say, hmm, maybe I will, or maybe I won't try that. Well, at
Right.
least we've
Yeah.
got you all thinking. We've got you thinking about the topics that we're here to discuss. And if we can get you thinking about it, even if it's just, you know, through osmosis, because you put on, is osmosis, is that the right word? You put on your
I
headphones at
believe
night,
so.
put it under your pillow, and you just go to sleep listening to us, which is kind of weird now that I say it, but we'll definitely put you to sleep, that's for
Right.
sure. But you know, that's, you know, whatever's going to work for you, and to make it happen, to help you find that passion. We've
Yeah.
got a few minutes left. How would you like to round this one out there, Dr. Joe?
Well, Dr. Dave, I just want to again tell our listeners and viewers out there, hey, everybody has a passion, and part of the challenge is to uncover that passion. And so, hopefully, we've provided you with a few tips that might help you as you're looking for what you're passionate about. But like Dave mentioned, there, you know, one of the greatest resources you have is those people closest to you, because they see you. They see you when you're down. They see you when you're up, and they could probably kind of help you relate to those things that get you going and get you motivated. And so hopefully, like I say, and Dave said it too, that's what we're here for, is to maybe give you something else to think about. Like, we may not give you the exact blueprint, but just providing you with these bits and pieces of, you know, things that may help you as you go through your journey. So do you have any final thoughts or anything, Dave?
You know, Joe, I think that was well put. I'm good with it. So go ahead and take us home.
All right. Well, we really enjoy talking about these topics. And if you can't tell, this one for me, like I said, I'm just all over the place. And it maybe because I drink, you know, a quart of coffee, maybe, I don't know. But in all seriousness, this is a very topic that I love talking about, helping other people. So if you didn't catch that in this episode, then maybe you'll hear it in others. But we want to thank you for going along this journey with us, because we've said it before. This is still our journey, but we are happy to include you along our journey with us. And with that, I just want to encourage you to continue being your not so ordinary you. And until next time, keep working.